Hello everyone, welcome back to Heartwood Abyss. In today's video I will be making a medieval city overrun by a terrible sickness, and something lies in the sewers down below. I hope you enjoy, thanks for watching. I start by making a rough layout of the diorama, placing the miniatures roughly where I want them to be. I will have a link down below to all the models used in this video. I start by gluing down a piece of XPS foam to the bottom part of the diorama. This will become the foundation, the walkway of the sewers. After that, I cut out a lot of little pieces of XPS foam that will become the brickwork of the sewers. It took me like an hour to cut everything out, but when I was done, I put everything into an iron bucket together with some stones and shaked it a lot to give it a stone texture. And now for the painful task of gluing on every little brick one by one. It took me 1.5 hours to complete, but it is worth it. To make the sewers more interesting, I added a big drain, some pipes and supporting pillars. And now for the top part of the diorama. I wanted to make a quarantine section of the city filled with infected people, and a large wall gated off with guards behind it, making sure no infected got through. So I started by cutting out the shape of 2 buildings out of some foam board, and glued on supporting beams for some more depth variation, and cut out a doorway and some windows. The bottom parts of the houses needed some stonework, so I started by drawing on some supportive bricks on a little piece of foam and glued it onto the corner of the right building. Then I drew on some rough stoneworks to the rest of the building. After I have finished drawing on the stonework, I went and added some structural timbers to the houses using balsa wood. For the daub texture between the beams, I used some Vallejo earth texture and applied it using a rough brush. After adding on the daub layer, I started to board up the windows using some balsa wood boards I cut out. Next I moved onto the wall. I started by sketching out the gateway and cutting it from XPS foam. Then I cut 2 more pieces of the same shape from foam board, giving one of them a beveled brick texture, and glued them in place in the diorama. I also added a small supporting piece, shaped like a stone guard block, where the portcullis will later rest between. I then started working on the main gate door for the gateway, gluing thin beams of balsa wood onto a piece of foam board and reinforcing it with smaller support beams. I also added a small wooden building to the left side of the diorama, and later on I gave it a shingle roof off camera. I now made the portcullis out of some cocktail sticks and glued them all together using some super glue. After everything has dried, I coated the whole diorama in a 50-50 mix of Mod Podge and black paint. I then went on to painting the diorama in dark colors, using some grey, brown, green and yellow. I wanted to add a large monstrous rat to the diorama, but I also wanted to add a lot of tiny rat. So what I did is cover this giant rat in a lot of tiny rats as a big swarm coming after the survivors. I glued every tiny rat on one by one. This took me like 2 hours to do, but it was worth it. This whole diorama is set in nighttime and dark places, but some of the models are holding torches or lanterns, so I needed to add some torch effects to the diorama, but I went a bit overboard and fix it later on. In the darkness of night, even the ever-bright city hides a cold, forgotten corner. Empty streets, lie behind high stone walls, a silence in a city that never sleeps. Faint wailing drifts from the plague district, long sealed and erased from memory. Yet some still dare to enter. 5 thieves chasing gold that should have stayed buried. They slip through the forgotten tunnels beneath the city, where the air hangs heavy with rust, mold and decay. Down there, the silence is never still. Small footsteps echo through the pipes, a scurry that grows louder and closer. The infection moves. Now 3 remain, their torches flickering as the rats poured from every crack. A flood of teeth and screeches filling the tunnels. Then comes a sound, a deep, dragging rumble that shakes the walls. From the dark, the beast emerges, a massive rat, its hide alive with its own swarm. 2 keep running, light breaking through the haze. 1 turns back, blade drawn, ready to face what comes, to buy them moments more. The sewers needed some water effects, so I used some UV resin to create this. For the final touch, I needed to remove the masking tape and paint the edges in Black Paint 1.0. And now, onto the final product.